The Cecil Hotel stood like a weathered sentinel in the heart of downtown Los Angeles, its faded Art Deco facade a relic of a bygone era. Built in the 1920s, it had once been a beacon for travelers seeking glamour in the golden age of Hollywood. By 2013, however, it was a shadow of its former self, nestled in the gritty embrace of Skid Row, where the air carried the weight of desperation and decay. The hotel, briefly rebranded as a stay on Main to attract younger travelers, was a labyrinth of contradictions. Part budget hostel, part long-term residence for transients, and a place steeped in a dark history that seemed to cling to its walls like damp rot. Elisa Lam, a 21-year-old Canadian student from Vancouver, arrived at the Cecil on January 26, 2013. She was bright, curious, and adventurous, a young woman eager to explore the world beyond her studies at the University of British Columbia. Her Tumblr Nouvelle Nouveau was a digital diary of her thoughts, filled with musings on literature, fashion, and her struggles with anxiety and depression. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder, Elisa managed her condition with medications like lamotrigine, quetiapine, and Wellbutrin, though her compliance was inconsistent. She had experienced psychotic episodes before, but her spirit was unbowed. Her solo trip along California's coast a testament to her desire for freedom and self-discovery. Elisa checked into a shared room at the Stay on Main, her backpack heavy with the essentials of a budget traveler. The hotel's lobby was a mix of faded elegance and modern austerity, with a neon sign promising affordable comfort. She was initially placed in a shared room, but her roommate soon complained of odd behavior. Elisa's erratic actions, perhaps a sign of her bipolar disorder flaring without her stabilizers, prompted the staff to move her to a private room. Amy Price, the hotel's manager, later recalled a sense of unease about Elisa, a gut feeling that something wasn't right. But in a place like the Cecil, where strange behavior was almost routine, it was easy to dismiss such instincts. On January 31st, 2013, Elisa was last seen alive. She had been in daily contact with her parents, David and Elisa Lam, calling them from each stop on her journey. That day, her call never came. Her parents, alarmed by the silence, reported her missing on February 8th. The Los Angeles Police Department launched a search, combing through her belongings left untouched in her room, her wallet, ID, laptop, and medications. There was no sign of forced entry, no drug paraphernalia, nothing to suggest she had been taken against her will. The trail seemed to end at the hotel. Then came the video. On February 13th, the LAPD released surveillance footage from one of the Cecil's elevators, capturing Elisa's final known moments. The grainy, pixelated video became an internet sensation, amassing millions of views and sparking a frenzy of speculation. In the 4-minute clip, Elisa enters the elevator wearing a red hoodie. She presses multiple buttons, but the doors refuse to close. Her movements are erratic. She steps in and out, peeks cautiously into the hallway, and at one point presses herself against the elevator wall as if hiding. She gestures animatedly, her hands waving in strange, fluid motions, as if speaking to someone unseen. Then she exits the elevator, and the doors finally close. She was gone. The video was haunting, its ambiguity fueling countless theories. Some saw her behavior as evidence of drug use, though her autopsy would later show no traces of alcohol or illegal substances. Others speculated she was fleeing a pursuer, perhaps a hotel guest or a shadowy figure tied to the Cecil's sordid past. The hotel had housed serial killers like Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger, and its history was littered with suicides and unsolved murders. Online sleuths pointed to the pixelated quality of the video, noting a skipped timestamp that suggested tampering. Some even linked her death to a tuberculosis outbreak in Skid Row, noting the eerie coincidence that the test of the disease was called L.A. Melissa. The internet churned with conspiracies. Was she possessed? Was she part of a government cover-up? Was the Cecil cursed? As the search for Elisa intensified, the hotel's guests began to notice something unsettling. The water pressure in their rooms was weak, and the tap water had a strange metallic taste. Some reported it was discolored, even black. On February 19th, maintenance worker Santiago Lopez climbed the hotel's roof to inspect the 4 1,000-gallon water tanks that supplied the building. The tanks, perched on concrete blocks, were difficult to access, requiring a ladder to reach their lids. Lopez noticed a hatch on one tank was open. Peering inside, he saw a body floating face up, just inches from the surface. It was Elisa Lam, naked, her clothes, watch, and room keys sunk to the bottom of the tank, coated in a sand-like substance. The discovery was gruesome. Guests had been drinking, showering, and cooking with water contaminated by her decomposing body for weeks. Firefighters had to cut open the tank to retrieve her, as the hatch was too small for removal. The Los Angeles County Coroner's Office conducted an autopsy, but the results were inconclusive. There were no signs of physical trauma or sexual assault, ruling out foul play. Toxicology tests showed only trace amounts of her prescribed medications, suggesting she had not been taking her stabilizers. In June 2013, the coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning, with bipolar disorder as a significant contributing factor. But the ruling did little to quell the speculation. How had Elisa reached the roof? The doors and staircases were locked, accessible only to staff, and an alarm system was supposedly in place. Some suggested she used a fire escape, where her scent trail was lost near a window. The water tanks themselves pose another mystery. They were 4 by 8 foot cylinders with heavy lids, and no fixed ladder provided easy access. Could a small-framed woman in a manic state have climbed up, lifted a 20-pound lid, and entered the tank alone? And why would she? Theories proliferated. Some pointed to the 2005 horror film Dark Water, where a girl's body is found in a rooftop water tank, eerily mirroring Elisa's fate. Others speculated about the Korean elevator game, a ritual said to transport players to another dimension by pressing elevator buttons in a specific order. The Cecil's reputation as America's hotel death fueled paranormal theories, with some claiming Elisa was possessed or influenced by the hotel's dark energy. Yet the most plausible explanation, supported by investigators and mental health experts, was simpler and more tragic. Elisa, off her medications, likely experienced a psychotic episode. Her sister had told police that Elisa had a history of hallucinations and delusions when unmedicated, once hiding under her bed for safety. The elevator footage, with its frantic gestures and apparent paranoia, suggested a mind unmoored. The Netflix documentary Crime Scene, The Vanishing at the Cecil Hotel, released in 2021, explored these details, featuring interviews with Amy Price detectives and web sleuths. Directed by Joe Berlinger, it aimed to debunk conspiracies, emphasizing the role of Elisa's mental health. The series revealed that the hotel's roof was more accessible than claimed, with fire escapes and open tank lids making it possible for Elisa to reach the tank alone. Forensic pathologist Dr. Jason Tovar noted that the lack of trauma supported the accidental drowning ruling. Yet the documentary also highlighted the human cost of sensationalism. The Lam family, grieving privately, declined to participate, wary of further exploitation. A musician named Morbid was falsely accused by internet sleuths, leading to harassment and suicidal thoughts, despite being in Mexico at the time. Elisa's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Cecil in 2013, arguing the hotel failed to secure the roof and water tanks. The suit was dismissed in 2015, as the hotel argued it could not have foreseen Elisa's actions. The case exposed the Cecil's negligence. OSHA regulations should have mandated lock barriers to prevent access to such dangerous areas. The hotel, already struggling with its reputation, closed to guests and was later repurposed as affordable housing. The story of Elisa Lam is a tragedy wrapped in mystery, amplified by the internet's hunger for intrigue. The Cecil Hotel, with its history of violence and despair, provided the perfect backdrop for conspiracy theories to flourish. But at its core, this is a story of a young woman lost to her inner struggles, failed by a system that couldn't protect her. Her erratic behavior in the elevator wasn't a sign of supernatural forces or a hidden killer. It was a glimpse into a mind in crisis, alone in a place that seemed to amplify darkness. Elisa's Tumblr posts, read posthumously, reveal a vibrant soul grappling with her demons. She wrote her wanting to live fully, to see the world, to find meaning. Her death, ruled an accident, leaves lingering questions. Could better security have saved her? Could timely intervention have prevented her spiral? The Cecil Hotel, now a shadow in Los Angeles' skyline, stands as a reminder of the fragility of life, and the weight of untreated mental illness. For Elisa's family, the pain of her loss is compounded by a world that turned her tragedy into a spectacle. Her story, though shrouded in mystery, is ultimately a call for empathy, a plea to see beyond the folklore to the human at heart.